Elentila Lumeno Mentielvo. Welcome to Tolkien on Tap. I'm TJ. Grab a drink and enjoy. Almia. Like everyone wants that's why different artist interpretations, and I think that's why like what George was saying was like we have something that's non-Jackson that's coming out is
Mm-hmm.
cool because we have a
Yeah.
different take to an
Mm-hmm.
extent because John Howe is still
Yeah.
working on the show. But
Mm-hmm.
and also Jen brings up a really good point because normally it takes about a generation to change things unless it's so culturally ingrained that it's going to take two, maybe three generations because
Mm-hmm.
think of that like filmmaking, the filmmakers who are going to be making films when we're older are probably the ones who are kids now, like not
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
Gen Z's because they're
Like
just slightly
literal
Yeah.
behind us.
children.
Alpha
Like
at
your
best. Yeah.
your
My
kids.
children, yeah, like
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
children's generation. I have a at time of recording, I have a 7 and a 3-year old. My children's generation might be the generation that could potentially make something where the rest of the world goes, obviously not the older generations because they're gonna be old fucks fuddy duddies by then, where they're gonna be like, you know what, I like that, that's cool,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
and then it'll re-engage people with the Rings of Power, it'll re-engage them with Jackson's Lord of the Rings, and then they'll get into the
Mhm.
books too, which will be awesome because honestly, whether we like an adaptation or not is fucking irrelevant. Like
Mhm.
couldn't
Mhm.
be more irrelevant. This is like you're listening to a fucking recording of people who have opinions and it doesn't affect your life whatsoever. But what is really cool is the fact that first of all, like Jen said, Tolkien's works are living on
Yeah.
in huge part because of his applicability versus straight up allegory. And also, I had a point and I fucking lost it in the middle of my fucking sentence.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh, and
Um,
also, no, I'm back. And also, because it will bring people to Tolkien's works no matter what, which is
Mhm.
insanely beautiful because there are so many gorgeous themes throughout
Mhm.
all of his writings. Like even the fucking horror shit he writes, even the
yeah.
sad shit that he writes. Eldarion and Horrendous is one of the saddest fucking things.
Mhm.
The Narni Hinhurin is
Mhm.
insanely fucking sad. There's so many beautiful things in all of the things
Yeah.
that he writes. So it doesn't matter what adaptation, how well it does, how well it's received. If it brings people to Tolkien's work and into this like community that I hope just continues to be a thing and grow, that's
Mhm.
what's important to me
Yeah.
specifically.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Everyone can take away from it what they will, but like to me, continuing to have a community of nerds like us to talk with, um, and even like, oh my god, I can't wait for like younger people to come around to talk to about this shit. It'll be so
Yes.
fun to be like,
Mhm.
in my day.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
So I know this girl named Eowyn. It's from this really old movie. Have you seen it? Like, yeah, I have.
Wait, is she no man?
Is she no man?
You know, man.
No
Uh,
living man is she?
Right.
amazing.
Oh, let's real quick. The fucking so Georgia keeps bringing up the Rankin Bass Return of the King. I have to say, first of all, the Witch King in the Rankin Bass Return of the King is fire as fuck. The design, the voice is what I know a lot of people don't like the voice, but the design is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Um and
I mean I love what they did with Jackson with like the hood with the crown on like sick.
that's
But
fine.
yeah, it's
Oh,
I
supposed
just
to be
I
just a
yeah.
floating crown in the middle
yes,
of the
Yeah.
air.
I also like the flame that they put
I agree with
in
you
the
both.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But also in the Rankin and Bass Return of the King, they straight up put Eowyn's speech from the book in, which is except for Dwemer Lake. I wish they had said the like. Listen, you fucking cowards who won't use the goddamn word Dwemer Lake. Use the fucking word Dwemer Lake.
Just use
It's an
Old
amazing
English without
fucking word.
context,
Yeah, it's an
like it
amazing
was
word.
intended.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, George. Thank you. It is an amazing fucking word. Somebody used the goddamn fucking word. But other than that, it's nearly word for word. And I love that they did that in the Rankin and Bass Return of the King.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was trying to segue for you, George, because you seemed like you wanted to talk about the Rankin Bass Return of
Oh
the King.
no, it was because I rewatched those and I'd watched each of like the Hobbit, Rankin Bass. I've seen 10,000 times
Mhm.
because my church library had it when I was a
Mm.
kid, like shortly
Mhm.
after my mom Becky Young,
Oh, to Becky. That's
To
right.
Becky.
had read me all of the stories. I was obsessed, completely obsessed. And so the church library had the Rankin Bass Hobbit. So I've seen that one 10 bajillion times. But
Great
then
music.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Chef's kiss.
The greatest adventure. Like,
Yes,
but
so
I
good.
didn't know much about what else was out there because this is, the mid to late 90s, and like technically the internet exists, but Google doesn't exist. So like these things are not helpful.
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, barely. But so I didn't know about it. So I learned like
That's the
Twitter.
sound. For those of you listening, that's the sound of someone who's a younger millennial making fun of the elder millennials.
Yeah. Yeah. TJ's here to defend me.
I'm right
we're-
between
we're
both of you.
basically
So
the same age, aren't we, TJ? What are you? When's your
I'm
birthday? August?
no, I'm November 20th of 85.
Okay, April 9th, 1985. So
Oh shit.
85 babies.
There we go. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Not
thanks,
that
Jen.
much younger than
Gender
you
didn't
guys.
stick
It's
very
only
well that
6
year.
years. God.
Hold on, I can't hear you all the way from back here in the past.
Yeah. But anyway,
Jesus.
so like
Why don't you go ask Jeeves?
Oh, rude. Anyway, so I didn't learn until later, like about the Bakshi Lord of the Rings or the Rankin Bass
Oh, good old
Return of the
Bakshi,
King
Lord of the Rings.
until
Oh
much
man.
later. So I only
Ah.
watched them like once each, and so then just a couple weeks ago, I watched because they're all on HBO Max now.
Mhm.
And so I watched all of them, and like the Bakshi Lord of the Rings is like interesting. It's weird.
It's so weird. We watched it as a book club once, and I want to do it again because it was
I
a
haven't watched that.
I would
fantastic
love to watch that in like a
experience.
I haven't
book club
watched that in
context.
so
I would love to watch that
It
in a book,
was
but
it was
like
wonderful.
the Rankin.
Honestly, I want to know, like, okay, so I have a job where like I am not allowed to partake in the marijuanas or the CBDs. So
Mm.
no, it's very strict. I get like
Bummer.
random drug tests, so I don't even fuck around with that shit. That's why I made a podcast about drinking,
Mm,
because that is perfectly fine and super healthy for you.
yeah.
I will
Anyways,
drink to that.
thank you. So, but I have always wondered, and I didn't really partake when I was a kid very much. I was one of those kids who was given a lot of the propaganda about how terrible marijuana is for
Oh
you. It's
yeah.
gonna ruin your
Mhm.
fucking, and it
You're
doesn't.
you're
And it
my
doesn't.
age, yeah.
And it
We
doesn't.
went to
Right.
Dare, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm a Dare graduate too, guys. Like, come on,
Okay.
let's
Fair.
Fair, fair, fair.
So but like in my old age, I'm
in my old
wondering.
age.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, would it be like how freaked out would I be if I was high and watched the back sheet
That
versus
you
no, hold on, versus should I drop acid and watch it?
yes.
That's
So
what I was thinking.
yeah,
See,
okay.
that's what I'm saying. Because being like being high and tripping are two completely different things.
Except for the time that I was high and tripped at the same time.
Oh yeah, okay.
I
That
don't know if
sounds
somebody
fun.
laced something or not, but
Oh.
work,
But I will
anyone from
say,
work,
like,
if you're hearing this, that was when
no-
I was like 18 years old, so calm the fuck
Mhm.
down. But also, like, I'll go fucking piss in a cup, I guess, whatever.
I don't really think like because I mean I want to watch it like tripping. I want to watch all of Lord of the Rings tripping. Like
Okay, so I watched, I went to see the Two Towers stoned as fuck when it came out. Like, this is how fucking stoned I was, right? So my older cousin, who is the one, he's like 5.5 years older than me. He drove us there. We got high on the way. There's a Wendy's on the way, and he was like, "I'm getting hungry. You want food?" I was like, "Yeah." And we pulled up, and he's at the drive-in the speaker, and he's about to order. And I'm looking out my window at the rearview mirror, and I look in my eyes. I'm like, I turn and go, and my eyes are so bloodshot. And he's ordering at this point, and he's trying to shush me, but he puts his finger over my mouth. And wait, hold on. How's he go? Oh, he's trying to like quiet me, but he puts the single finger over his mouth and he goes shh, but puts the whole hand over his mouth because he's also very stoned. And but
sir, this is a Wendy's.
yeah, But so we watched the film, and I mean it's a fucking like 3.5 hour film regardless, whether it's extended or not. It's fucking long.
Mm.
But anyways, when it got to that last shot where it zooms up, over the is it Gorgoroth? Edward Gorgoroth, I believe.
Mm.
Mountains of Shadow.
The Mountains of
Oh.
Shadow
Or is it the
is
Etheldueth?
Ethelduath.
It's Etheldueth. Okay.
No, it's-
So it pans up. Yes, that's the music. And you see Sauron and his like eye that isn't actually what Sauron should look like.
Yeah, whatever.
And the mountain, Mount Doom erupting, and the Nazgul flying around, and that was a
And fucking
fucking
Gollum song, which is my favorite fucking end credits song.
that was a fucking that Into the West is my jam. But that was a trip to see high, because I was like, it's real, and I don't like how that made me feel.
Oh, that's wild. Oh, it's because I was just about to say when you brought that up, I thought I was about to have something useful to say. It was like, because I did recently watch the Bakshi and the Rankin Bass Lord of the Ring or Return of the King, and there was a couple of winks, copyright THC beverages involved in my enjoyment of those films. And I will say it enhanced the Bakshi, and the Return of the King is bad. It's just bad.
It's bad.
Except
But
for the where
The Bakshi
there's a
Balrog
witch.
is also bad.
Yes.
The Bakshi Balrog is bad
The
as
Bakshi
fuck.
Balrog is
It's
terrible.
so
There's lots of
awful.
bad in the Bakshi,
It's
but it's
just like a man
see
with a
what's
lion
happening.
head and wings and a whip.
Hold on. You can't just say just where there's a whip this way, because Frodo of the nine fingers.
But also
and
Yeah,
the
that's
ring
fair.
of
somebody on
doom.
TikTok pointed out the level of like framing. So there's like a general narration, and then there's an opening birthday party for Bilbo in Rivendell, and then within that narration, there is a bard who is then telling the story of what's happening. So like already 10 minutes into the movie, we
Listen,
are
don't question it.
3 narrators deep. And also, they deliberately pick Return of the King because of the Bakshi film, but they don't choose to start where the Bakshi film ends.
That's
They
not
start
entirely true. That's not
later
entirely
on.
true. It was already planned that they were going to do Return of the King,
Oh,
because the Hobbit and the Return of the King are like 2 to 3 years apart or whatever. Bakshi just happens to have fallen in the middle.
oh.
But Rankin Bass.
Wait, The Hobbit
So
and no, you're right, 77 and like 80, yeah.
yes, and I know this because I just recently got really, really, really into Queer Lodgings podcast, and they were
Ooh,
talking about adaptations as well. Now, this was after our first episode.
I don't know Queer
Um,
Lodgings. That sounds
Queer Lodgings is
I'm already on board.
Queer Lodgings. First of all, it's a queer run podcast about
Great.
Tolkien shit. So
I'm
um,
all so on board. Clearly,
I
yeah,
was like,
clearly I'm on board
yes,
with that.
let's
Yeah.
do that. Um,
Oh my
but
gosh.
Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah.
right, exactly.
That is
But
my
so
brand.
in that episode on adaptations, they talked about the Bakshi Rankin Bass, because they were like, hey, do you remember when you may have gotten the set where it had the Hobbit, the Bakshi, Lord of the Rings, and the Rankin Bass Return of the King. It was, you only remember that because stores sold it like that, but it was not planned. That's just how it happened. The Hobbit came out, Bakshi came out, the Return of the King, Rankin Bass came out. So Rankin Bass was already going to do that. It wasn't.
That's wild. Because
Yes,
also,
it
and
is. It's super serendipitous.
here's something wild for you Giggleless fans out there. Excluding Elrond in the opening and closing segments of the movie, the Rankin Bass Return of the King, elves, dwarves, do they exist? Probably not.
Which
Legolas?
also,
Legolas and Gimli are not in that movie at all. There is nothing about it. There is Sam and Frodo, and there is stuff going on around Minas Tirith, and Aragorn is gonna come because Aragorn is cool and the king, and that is it. There are humans
Yep.
and there are hobbits and whatever Elrond is. And that is it. There's no
Whatever.
elves,
whatever
no
Elrond
dwarves.
is, which in Bakshi, I mean, we've got bearded Elrond.
Ugh.
Right.
We also have like
Wait, that's Rankin Bass.
no, that's
It's
Bakshi.
both. It's both.
Mhm.
No, it's got to be both. Hold on.
Bakshi in Bakshi he has a beard.
He
But
does in the Rankin Bass too.
also in the Bakshi Lord of the Rings, Legolas is like tripping acid like the
It's
whole
been a
time.
long
Yeah.
time since I've seen the back sheet.
Like there's a there's a YouTube edit of like Bakshi Legolas just being ridiculous for like 13 minutes straight.
Oh,
And
he
it's
Are you
just
talking
like
does.
about Jen? Are you talking about that picture?
He does have a
Because
beard in.
that's
he
Rankin
has,
That's
Bass.
Rankin Bass. You're right.
but he does in Bakshi too, I'm pretty sure.
No,
Maybe
this
I'm
is
okay.
Elrond.
This is oh
But
no,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're
Oh, you're
right.
right.
But he
Yeah.
has short hair. He has short hair. That's
Yes,
what I
I
was thinking
can't.
of.
All right, sorry.
I love how
He
we were
has
like,
short
beard in-
hair.
I was
I
gonna
love how
He
we're
has
say.
a
like,
I was gonna
beard in
say.
Rankin Bass Hobbit. That's what it is.
Yes.
so
I did not grow up with those, and so I get
yeah,
them
I grew
mixed up in
up.
my brain.
Like I
I
said,
did.
I grew up
I did.
specifically with just the Rankin Bass Hobbit, and I've only seen
Mm.
the others once as a kid and then once as a 30-year-old.
Oh, I was given the Hobbit. I was given the Hobbit. No, I think I was given the Hobbit one year for like Christmas or some shit, and I loved it. And I was given the combined like back no, or maybe it was on TV or some shit, and I really liked it. And then I was given the Hobbit, the back sheet, the Rankin Bass, Return of the King, and I watched those like crazy. And then my mom was like, "Oh, by the way, I got the books," and I was like, "The fuck are you
Oh,
holding out on me for?"
that's awesome.
I'm pretty sure I don't know. I don't know.
Um,
I existed at some point, and so
sure.
did the books and the
Yeah,
films,
yeah,
and
I get it.
then we intersected. That's how I came
Yeah,
to
no,
Lord
that's
of the
fair.
Rings.
So, going back to Rings of Power, if I can.
Oh, it's been a while. Yeah, please, let's do
Yeah,
that.
if we
I was getting ready to reel us back in, which
Yeah,
is
because
not
I like
normally a
how,
thing that I have to be responsible
like,
for.
for those of you listening at home, like
That sounds like you haven't had enough to drink, Jen.
earlier
Faramir.
today we were texting about Boromir, yeah. Or no, Faramir, sorry. We were texting about how we should talk about Rings of Power, and now we've been here quite a while. Anyway, so
We're
I
at
don't
two
know
and a
how
half
to.
hours, guys. Let's start on
Yeah,
Rings of Power for the
woo,
third
starting on Rings of
time.
Power, yeah.
By the way, this is the third time we're starting it up.
So I don't know how to separate seasons, but I just want to talk about, since I'm safe with you, my maybe my two least favorite things
Mhm,
about Rings of Power,
mhm.
and they are connected. And this is aside from just some of the random like member berries, I heard somebody call it, where they just drop quotes
Yeah,
from the things. And TJ, we've talked about the worst one being the horrible misuse of
many that live deserve death. Some that
yes.
die deserve life.
So many
Yeah.
of the member berries are great. That one completely inverts it in a way that makes no sense,
Mhm,
both for where you're getting it and also in just literally the scene we're watching. It doesn't make sense for
mhm,
the characters or what's happening. But we're not talking about
mhm.
that right now. My two least favorite things that are connected are, first of all, there's just something about the way they end up naming things that is always very try hard and stupid.
Such as,
Oh
On
my God. I have a thing about this. Sorry.
on rewatch, I hated it slightly less, the season one moment, but I still didn't like it. Where they name Mordor.
oh,
I,
Adar,
the way they name it.
yeah. Adar is a nice like bridge between, because for those of you keeping track at home, it, traditionally in the books, Mordor is an exonym, which is, land of darkness, and it is named by elves who recognize it's dark and there's evil things happening there.
Right.
But Adar, being a former elf turned into an orc, love the character, love the idea, love that they explore it. That's amazing. Gives an excuse for making Mordor be, not quite an exonym. They name it themselves, but rather than just through conversation, they just say it's not called the Southlands anymore. Cut to dramatic fonts,
hey, but
Southlands,
I fucking love
wipe
that
away
shit. I
Mordor.
love it so much.
Here's the
Oh,
interesting thing. This is why rewatches are so important, because the
it's
first time,
so
like
corny and I'm so
on
here
watch
for
on
it.
season one, it made me so mad and I hated it so much. But then on rewatch of season one, having already seen like season two, Adar, and having, feelings about him, I, I,
Same, George. Same.
yeah, I liked it way more. But I still don't love it. But to me, the more egregious one, which also connects nicely into my second complaint about Rings of Power, is the naming of Gandalf. Because like they
Oh.
end it with like, oh, they all call him Grand Elf, and he remembers that, or he kind of, he's like, oh, they're gonna call me Gandalf. But in episode 2 of season 2, they go way out of their way. Like the what do they call them? The hobbits, whatever they're called. The
Calls the
halflings.
The
staff the Gand.
Harfoots.
Yeah, they go out of their way to establish that Gand is a word that means staff.
Yeah.
Like they go.
Yep.
Seriously, it's 30 seconds of the episode. They establish that.
Oh, dude, I
Gand
flipped the fuck out when they
is a
said Gand.
word that means staff. You've set it up. You can pay it off now. Because obviously, like, and even the showrunners have said, like, the audience is supposed to be ahead of the stranger, the character at this point. Like, the audience at this point is supposed to know, yeah, it's Gandalf. But like, they set it up so clearly to be the same as in the book. And then instead, they do Grandalf, which ties into my other big complaint about the show, and also my favorite moment about the show. That's one of the most Tolkien things ever. Tying it all together here. Is the show feels structured, and this is, I'm a huge TV nerd. Like I would love to write TV. I'm a huge nerd about it. The show, like the individual episode writing feels, I don't know, it feels like pre-prestige TV, American TV writing, if that makes sense. Like
I know what you mean.
American TV didn't do, before prestige TV, like Breaking Bad and things like that, they didn't tend to do a showrunner in the same way that British TV does or that modern TV does, where it's like there is one person or a couple people who are in charge of absolutely everything and they have final word on every single, they're executive producers who have general final calls. But
Yeah.
mostly there's a big arc that's been decided by some executive producers and some of the head writers. But like otherwise, individual episodes are very episodic and there's not a lot of communication between it. So like the Gand in episode 2 versus, oh, Grandalf. Oh, I'm going to be called Gandalf in episode 8 of season 2 of season, yeah, that's 2. But the more egregious
I
one,
think Jen's eyes gonna roll out of her head.
the more
I'm pretty
egregious,
sure I just saw my brain, you guys.
the more egregious one, because it ties directly into my absolute favorite moment of the show, is the use of the phrase Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Because what they do the most Tolkien thing ever, and also do like the most high stakes thing as a writer, because the most high stakes thing as a writer you can do is use the name of the thing in the thing you're writing.
Mhm.
But
While
like,
awkwardly working in the movie title.
yes, exactly. But they nail it.
Roll credits.
In season 2, episode 8, they nail it, and they also like, I was so curious since they like inverted the order of the rings are made. So they made the Elven rings first.
Mhm.
And in the books, for those who don't know at home or whatever, in the books, Sauron as Anatar tricks Celebrimbor, and he's there for a long time, and they make all the other rings.
300 slutty years, George.
Yep. Yep. And they were just roommates. For those for those listening on Apple Podcasts, those are big giant quotation marks around that. Anyway, and then he leaves, and they find out that he was Sauron, and then Celebrimbor, his moment, he makes the 3 elven rings, and then Sauron comes and conquers everything and kills him.
And penetrates him in a completely different way.
Yes. Yeah. There's lots of penetration over those.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway.
Still not a good enough reason to use the word penetrate.
Also, I already referenced using weed. We're way past. My mom is not going to listen to this episode. I'm going to make sure of that. Anyway,
You should at least show her where we say to Becky.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so, but since they inverted that, but you need Celebrimbor to have he gets tricked by Anatar and then gets a redemptive moment. And I deeply love what Rings of Power does, because they use something that Tolkien uses often that Jackson never uses, which Tolkien uses so much of the gift of prophecy and foresight and curses.
Yeah.
And so he turns the phrase Lord of the Rings, like we've established already, Sauron wants to be Lord of the world. And then as he is dying, as Sauron is killing him, Celebrimbor says, no, these are going to control you. you are gonna be Lord of just the Rings, and one alone, one of them will be your undoing. It's very Tolkien-esque, and it's very, to me, like the just that scene matches the like redemption that Celebrimbor gets in the books by, oh my God, that was Sauron. Let me build these three rings that are better than all the other ones.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that speech is so good.
So good.
It's so good. It's my favorite scene in all of any of Rings of Power.
I'm so pissed that Charles Edwards didn't get an Emmy for that.
I
That's
know. Yes,
fucking
He
bullshit.
didn't because at time of recording they've released the Emmy nominations now, right?
I don't know. I thought that
I
had
thought
already
Emmys
passed.
were before the Oscars.
I thought so too.
Are
but
they?
I
I don't
know.
know how the world works.
I don't know either. We're gonna Google that later. But it's so good, and I it still is my favorite moment. But tying into, so we've thoroughly established I love that. It's amazing. It's great. It's very Tolkien-esque. In also, I think episode 2 of season 2, when Anatar reveals himself to
Oh, it's so
Celebrimbor.
epic though.
It's so epic and so great. But he uses the phrase, he says to Celebrimbor, no, you're going to be so great. Feanor sucks. You're going to be the Lord of the Rings. And if they were show running like a British show or like Prestige TV, they would say, hey, don't drop that here because we're going to use it better here later. And so,
I
like,
think that's why they dropped it though, because they're making Celebrimbor like turn it back on Sauron.
but like,
Oh, the Emmys, real quick. The
yeah.
Emmys for 2024 were in September.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
thinking.
And the
well,
show
the
came
thing
out,
is,
like,
wasn't the
summertime, right?
show still going on in the middle of September?
Yeah, so maybe it'll be in
It's going to be
2025.
the
Yeah,
2025
so maybe we're not. I guess we'll
Emmys.
find out. But yes, they
Yeah,
all
because
deserve
I'm pretty
Emmys.
sure I'm gonna double check real quick when Rings of Power season 2 ended. Not Rings of Rings.
October feels
Rings of
Rings of
Rings.
Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
October.
I guess him
It
turning
was
a,
going through October.
I guess him.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was September to October.
Yeah,
Mhm.
October 3rd. Yep. Okay. So
Um,
it'll be the 2025 Emmys
Okay.
that they will do announcements for, which is September 15th is when that's going to happen. I don't know when the nominations happen, but
yeah, I don't know.
I'm keeping my eye on it though, because that's how I have a DVD of season 1.
wait,
What?
what?
So they send out they're called for your consideration.
Mhm.
They send out like little like promotional DVDs and shit, and I have one because I bought it on eBay for a lot of money.
Oh,
That is amazing.
It is the Arkenstone of my collection because it was not cheap and it is also very rare.
got you. I'm
That's
sorry,
amazing.
George. I didn't mean to interrupt. What
No,
you
you're
were
great.
saying.
Yeah, I guess he turns it back, but like in episode 2, it's just a positive thing he's saying. You're better than Feanor. You're going to be Lord of
Mhm.
the Rings. But like to me, the genius of the curse of Celebrimbor in episode 8 is that kind of points out that like being the Lord of Jewelry is kind of dumb and sucky. And we've already established that Sauron wants to be Lord of the Earth. He wants order at all costs. He
Mhm.
wants to be Lord of the Earth. And Celebrimbor is saying, no, no, you're not going to be that. You're going to be Lord of the Rings. And I love it so deeply much. But it would be just a tiny bit better if Anatar's revelation didn't also use the phrase. Just the same as we have Gandalf to Gandalf would be
Wait. You're saying
fine.
you didn't want, like, when you say Anatar's revelation, you're talking about like when he steps out of the forge.
Yeah, I that scene is amazing. I agree with Jen,
Incredible.
except that he
So
uses
good.
the phrase,
But I
"You
think
will
that's
be
why. I think
Lord
it's
of the
so
Rings."
that Celebrimbor can turn it back on him later.
Yeah,
I guess
I
that
agree.
I
I guess
think
that
that
still
him
works for my
using
point.
that phrase as he's coming out of the forge is foreshadowing of the foreshadowing.
Mm. I see your point because I guess that's also shows the difference of their character because for Celebrimbor, to be the master of real good jewelry is actually his goal.
Mhm.
Whereas Sauron wants to rule the world, and Celebrimbor is saying,
I want to
"No,
make Silmarils.
you're the boy of jewelry."
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that is kind of not his goal. Yay, Jen, you just did the thing that I was just talking about earlier, where I was like, I hate this thing, and you're like, actually, it's good, and you're like, you know what? You're right, that is good. And that's my favorite thing. That's
So is
why
that like 4 times gents on that in this episode? This
I think
recording?
so.
I think it's only twice, but you know.
No, listen, I have double vision, so you've done it twice times 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I
So-
honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I thought you were playing Lotro while you were on this while we were recording. Because for a little bit you were like eating, but also like looking off to the side, and I was like, is she
Yeah.
fucking signed into Lotro right now?
Yeah,
By the way, I said
right
it
out. Gotta
twice,
go.
so cheers. Oh, I gotta make another one.
Yeah, sorry for the viewers. I'm munching because I got the mad munchies.
She's high as fuck.
No, we started this at my dinner time, so
Oh shit.
I'm hungry.
Oh no.
You
I
want
didn't
we
think
could be
about
we could be
that.
done so you can go eat.
Mm.
No, I'm just gonna sit here and keep munching my goldfish. It's fine.
Do you need
Sorry,
some
viewers.
protein? Do you need to pause for some protein or something?
No, I'm just gonna
Don't
keep
let
munching
us
my
don't let us
fishies.
keep you in the shackles of Central Time.
My fiskies. I only wish to catch a fish. So juicy.
Juicy
Hold on.
sweet. Also,
to catch a fish. So juicy.
side note,
We love those.
when I met Andy Serkis last fall, I was like trying to decide because they announced that Andy Serkis was coming like a week before the convention. I was like, God damn it. Now I gotta spend even more money on fucking autographs because I gotta have fucking Andy Serkis sign something. And I was like debating having him sign a copy of the Silmarillion because of his great narration of the Silmarillion.
Sure.
But then I was like, no, I don't really like that because I don't have like an audio CD of the Silmarillion that he could sign. A bunch of people did have him sign Silmarillion, like copies of the Silmarillion. But I was like sitting there, I was like, I want something good. And I've got these posters from the premiere of An Unexpected Journey that I love. It's the one where it's like Gandalf, Bilbo, Thorin, and Gollum, and they're very cool. And it says The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey in Tangwar, and it's very cool. But then I was like, I'm gonna have him sign a fish.
I did not expect that sentence.
So
oh my gosh.
I bought a little rubber fish, and I was like, when I like got up to his table, and I was like, so I gotta say, I got something really silly for you to sign, because he like kind of like went to like go for like a photo or something, and he like sort of like looks at me sort of expectantly, and I was like, I got something real silly for you to sign. And I like reach into the pocket of my apron because I was wearing my Hobbit cosplay. And I like slap this fish down on the table. And he just like busts up laughing. And he ended up writing, because and the person who was like right ahead of us in line was like, oh, can I have him write Filthy Hobbitses on this print that I'm having him sign? And they were like, oh, having a quote is extra. And I was like, that's kind of dumb, but whatever. So I hand him my fish, slap my fish down on this table, and he just like laughs, and then he pulls out his Sharpie to sign it, and he writes "so juicy sweet" with like a million E's on it, and then signs it.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, I got a quote for free.
Nice.
That just goes to show you, if you're creative with the things that you bring celebrities to sign, you may
get free
tickle
shit.
their fancy enough and get shit for free.
Yeah. He thought it was awesome, so
that makes me think of
awesome.
I'm currently like I have the ebook too, but I'm reading through the Silmarillion using the Andy Serkis audiobook. And TJ, I think about you and Lee a lot, because as she has made clear before, he mispronounces Maedhros throughout the entire book. He calls him Maedhros every single time.
Maedhros?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maedhros. Oh
Maedhros.
shit, we got a drink.
Yeah. We've
just
said
ate
it
a
3
fishy.
times, by the way.
But here's the other one that I don't know if this counts. It's not every time. He doesn't like have it wrong, but he screws it up twice. That it's in the audiobook. Twice he calls our boy Finrond.
What?
Yeah, 2 different times.
That's have you seen there's an interview, I think it's with Graham Norton, where he's interviewing Benny Cumbers, and they talk about this documentary that he did talking about penguins.
Penguins.
And Benedict Cumberbatch can't say penguins.
He can't say penguins.
Yeah.
He says penglings. He says penguins.
There's a YouTube video of like the entire documentary, and like his pronunciation of penguin just disintegrates throughout the documentary.
Yeah.
I just get the
It's
words.
amazing.
But yeah,
Penguins.
Yeah.
because
Penguins.
TJ, I almost texted you the first time, and then like he was fine. It was clear like, oh, he screwed up, and they didn't catch it in the editing. And then like, I don't know, later that night, I was listening to a little more right before bed, and he did it again. I'm on a Barian and Luthien right now, and he gets it right throughout that chapter. So most of
Okay.
that chapter, he refers to him as Felagund anyway. But the couple times he's Finrod, he gets it right. But 2 different times in that audiobook, he calls him Finrod.
Good thing you said it the incorrect way that time.
Yeah, I was drinking, to be clear.
I was in the
drinking for
middle of the
correct
drink.
one. Yeah.
I don't know why I chose to
Speaking-
drink vodka drinks tonight. This was probably a bad idea. I
Yeah.
know it was
Speaking-
because I'm trying to hold it together. Not happening.
Not
Well,
happening. But
I'm-
speaking of things that should have gotten caught in the edit, and to segue us back to Rings of Power,
Thank you.
lassoing us back in. Okay, so
That's
at
4
one
times
point,
you've done that, by the way. Thank you.
at one point in season 1, Gil-galad says something about the FL Arnen. The FL Arnen do not exist, for one.
What is that?
The Emin Arnen are the hills in Ithilien that are up
Okay.
against the FL Duath Mountains of Shadow, Fence of Shadow, technically. For one, calling them the FL Arnen is incorrect because before the FL Duath were the FL Duath, they were just nothing. They didn't, like, we don't know what they were called.
Yeah.
But
So
calling
Southland
them
situation,
calling
yeah.
them the FL
Wait,
Arnen.
wait. Just because Tolkien didn't write it didn't mean we didn't know what it
We
meant.
don't know what they're
I'm
called.
just gonna throw it back at you,
Okay,
Jen.
I'm just saying. But anyway, Arden is a Gondorian word which mixes the Quenya Ar, which is beside, and the Sindarin Nen, which is water.
Oh.
No elf would ever
Intermix the
say
2 languages.
FL Arnen because it's a freaking Gondorian word. Gondor doesn't exist at this point.
That's so interesting.
No one's gonna like he said something about the FL Arnen, and I was like,
These are the nerdy takes that I'm here for.
Yeah. Well,
I
I've
was
got
like,
another.
that's not a thing. That's not a thing. Like by the time that Gondor exists, there is the Emin Arnen, but Arnen is not an Elvish word. It's a Gondorian word that was an incorrect mixture of Quenya and Sindarin.
That's
Right.
weird. And also, so like, because there's a few things.
You know, that's. I just pushed my glasses
fucking
up.
glasses pushed.
Yeah. Oh man. That ties into like one of my, because I feel like there's some things of season 2, like I don't know how much of season 2 was like pre-written and pre-planned, and like / if they maybe, reconfigured some things to make it a little more in line with what people were expecting. I'm not sure, because there's some things about it that seem like it. But one thing that makes me certain that they did out of response that I don't necessarily like. I don't know. I like it, but I like what they did in the first season better, which is in the first season, almost no elves speak Sindarin, which is fair because they would be speaking like, it's not like the Lord of the Rings movies where we're translating Westron to English and then there's like Sindarin is what they would be speaking to each other, so
Because fuck Eluthingal.
yeah.
Fuck Eluthingal.
So like it makes sense that any Sindarin would be translated into English for the viewers because we're watching elves are the main characters now.
Yeah.
And the only time, so when elves speak in Elvish, it's Quenya, which I would not have actually. I'm not David.
There's very, 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 very fucking few elves who be speaking Quenya.
Well,
They speak Quenya in Numenor.
Well,
which they would be speaking Sindarin. They wouldn't be speaking Quenya.
Well, but in the
but that's what the subtitles say.
I know, and it's so weird because like,
and I'm like, that's not Quenya. That's
in Numenor.
Is it okay? So I don't know. I don't know the Quenya to verify that the subtitles are correct. But the way that it is used.
Let's call Chris.
Yeah,
you're right.
Chris.
Which Chris, by the way, is a G, and he does great translations for into Sindarin.
Awesome.
Sindarin's
We're into
the jam.
Sindarin? Okay.
Yeah,
Because I need a Sindarin person.
Sindarin's their thing.
But in season one, exclusively, pretty much, the only time you hear elf language, which the captions say is Quenya, and I assume is correct, they're not doing it because, oh, they're showing us elves speaking together or how elvish they are. They're in a situation where it's of benefit for them to speak a language that only they speak. And
So
there is some Tolkien writing to back up that like they might know like a lot of elves might know Quenya in the way that members of the Catholic Church up to the 19th century would have known Latin. You know, it's not their
it's
native tongue.
Quenya, like everyone in Valinor obviously knew Quenya.
So all the
Every
Noldor.
Noldor
Well,
who
the
came
elves
over,
in Valinor.
All
Every
Noldor who came
Noldor who
over.
still exists, every Noldo who still exists, knows Quenya. So Gil-galad knows it because his father spoke it. It's not like he like was speaking it constantly because he basically grew up in Beleriand. There's
Yeah.
text where he was born in Valinor. There's text where he's born in Beleriand. But
There's text where he
regardless,
has a different father. It's
right.
Yeah,
confusing at
but
all.
Silmarillion
What I'm
has
getting at,
him,
what I'm getting
what's
at
his
is
face's
that
son, and then he's down with Círdan for a lot of the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
what I'm getting
Yeah.
at though is regardless of where he was born, he's on Noldo. So he would have I got the fucking pluralization correct. No matter what, he would have been like Quenya would have been like one of his main languages that he at
Yeah.
least understood. Maybe didn't speak on a daily basis, but
His
Yeah.
mother tongue.
Well, that's
right. So
my point.
Galadriel would speak it.
Yeah.
Damn it, this fucking computer. Whenever I like count
Oh
and
yeah.
I number one, my thumb is a
Zoom.
thumbs up.
It's a zoom setting. You gotta
Yeah.
turn the
So
zoom
okay.
setting off.
So
Yeah.
Gil-galad would speak it. Elrond would be able to speak it because he was raised. So obviously his father and mother, Earendil and Elwing, are both.
Yeah.
They're all like a. Elrond's from like every single fucking race and
Yeah.
house that exists.
Yeah. Elrond is just the catch-all for everybody
Right.
that ends up at Elrond.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you would also have who else? So that's Gil-galad. Oh, Galadriel would speak it. Who else? What other elf would like legit speak it? Adar might.
Yeah,
That's a big maybe.
that's iffy because it might even be like a
Because
proto
we
Quenya, although he seems to know some Sindarin too.
yeah, but the thing is, well, he does because this is Ellen Thila
And Mordor and
yeah. So we don't, but the thing is, we don't know how much he knows, and
yeah.
the only reason he would have known it if he was the one of the original orcs is from capturing other Noldor,
Yeah.
potentially.
Well, here's my point with the way it's used in season one in comparison to season two, because there's a stark difference. So the only time we see elf language, which according to the captions is Quenya, and I'm just for the purposes of my argument, am saying that that's correct, assuming captions aren't wrong. But it's always used as there are two elves in a situation where it would be helpful for them to communicate with each other without the people around them knowing what they're saying. So they're basically using it like they're, Catholic priests from the early 19th century. Like it's not their native tongue. They don't speak it per se, but they know enough about it that they can talk. And then that compares to, and this is one of those things that feels like, is this a reaction to the negative take of season one? That changes abruptly. In season two, elf language is used the way it's used in the Jackson films, which is, it's one, they use Sindarin chiefly, and also they use it in like we're having a moment where we're being mysterious and elvish. And so like that struck me, and because I kind of like the first season better, because like second age stuff, Sindarin is going to be the primary language of most of the characters you have, so it makes sense that that's just English. But you have
at that point, Quenya was a language of lore.
Yeah, but languages of lore, if you're a learned person, you know them. And so like in season one, you don't have any moments, I think, except for maybe Gil-galad sings a song. Other than that, you don't have any moments that are
the Eldalia sing,
yeah,
which
is amazing,
or whatever. Well, so like Elendil would know it,
yeah,
because the Lords of Andúnier know the lore.
Yeah, they would know the lore, and they would know Quenya, and yeah, they would know both. But my point is that like it's interesting.
They would know it, but they would to speak with the elves, they would mostly use Sindarin.
Absolutely. But like my point is just is an interesting thing that I'm curious about is if that's based in like audience reaction, is that it's exclusively split between the seasons. Season one,
Yeah.
they use Quenya as a secret code between each other in situations where they want to talk but don't want the other person to hear.
Oh, that's a
And in
cool
season
catch. I
two,
didn't
it's
notice that.
exclusively used, it's Sindarin, and it's used exclusively in the same manner that it's used in the Jackson films, which is we are mysterious and elvish and magical.
Yeah.
Um, which is, I mean, it's still cool. I'm a sucker for it, but it's a little bit of a bummer to not have the sort of, again, non-Jacksonian like usage of this and the recognition that, like, we're in the second age. Sindarin
Yeah.
is everywhere. Let's do
Oh
something.
yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Shit,
That's
even
gonna
the
be
fucking
English.
first stage when the
Yeah,
Noldor come over, the only place that's like 100% Quenya is Gondolin.
yeah.
Everywhere else, maybe Mithrim,
Well,
like in Hisalome.
and even because Gondolin is the Sindarin term for the city, because
Mhm.
they actually do
Yeah.
take some Sindarin elves with them,
Yeah,
and
it is mentioned that like
yeah,
the leaders or like the princes or whatever princes and princesses the royalty of the elves that came from Valinor do still speak Quenya amongst themselves,
amongst themselves.
but generally they speak Quenya.
Yeah, even
Or I'm
even
sorry,
pre
Sindarin.
yeah even pre Thingol, like what
Fuck that
Thingol,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
fuck that guy.
what Thingol did was just a nail in a coffin that was already half buried,
Hmm.
because it already, like, assuming we're taking the text of the Silmarillion, like the Silmarillion already says that, like, basically Sindarin is way easier to learn than Quenya. So
Hmm.
as the
Yeah,
Noldor came back and were interacting with these Sindarin elves, they're already mostly speaking Sindarin with each other anyway, because
yeah,
they picked up on Sindarin much more easily
right.
than the Sindar picked up
Yeah,
on Quenya.
yep.
Anyway, all that to say, there's
Um,
a tiny difference between season one and two.
so we've been going for a little while.
Yeah,
Um, we've meandered a little bit.
a
It's
little
been
bit.
fun.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
But I feel like this recording we've been like on topic a lot more than like last time the three of us were together.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let's put a cap on this for now. Before we go though, I want to ask your favorite thing, season one
But I
or
want to say
two.
my favorite thing about Rings of Power.
Hold on, my balloons are going. I was gonna say favorite
Mm,
thing one season one or two. What is your absolute overall favorite thing?
the fucking Capriole.
The
What?
what?
So when the horse jumps up and kicks out with its back
Oh,
legs,
yeah.
that is a like very fancy dressage move called Capriole. And when I saw it, I screamed and
Tolkien
almost
would have
fell
been
off
so
my
proud.
couch. It
Tolkien would have
was,
been
and it
so
was
proud.
practical. It was real. It
I
was a
know.
real thing, and it was so good.
Yeah.
That and the friendship between Elrond and Durin is just so
Yes, that's
good.
so good.
Overall season one and two, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good.
George?
I've already said mine, which is that Celebrimbor's dying speech is
Oh
Mm,
yeah.
so good. It's
so
such an
good.
amazing scene. Both it stands on its own as it's amazing, but it's also like, to me, like when we're talking about, like, the Jackson films, which are amazing and wonderful, and the like,
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
it is the most Tolkien-esque thing that didn't originate from Tolkien, except for
Mm-hmm.
maybe from the episode before that also gets called back, when Celebrimbor says, basically, I'm going to butcher it now, but it's like, you don't beat out darkness with
oh, that
strength.
fucking speech. Good God.
You beat out
Only
darkness is conquered by light,
Mhm.
not strength. And that quote was so good that I immediately, in that moment, paused
I
it
have it written on my phone somewhere.
to Google, because I was like, I know it's not from here, but where is that Tolkien quote from? And then I Googled it and realized it was original to the show. And that was when I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
I am ride or die for the show. Whatever else I hate, they get it. Because I was like, that's not original Tolkien.
It really felt like it was.
Yeah,
Mhm.
TJ, are you Googling it?
I
'Cause
got you. No. I have it
I'm,
written
I'm,
down on my phone
okay,
because I loved it
I'm gonna need the
so
full
much.
quote of that. Yeah.
Neither of us was strong enough. There might not be anyone in Middle Earth who is, but perhaps the elves need only remember that it is not strength that overcomes darkness, but light. Armies may rise, hearts may fail, yet still light endures and is mightier than strength. For in its presence, all darkness must flee. Namarie.
Yeah. Like that is so like literally I paused to see what Tolkien text that was from. And when
Yeah.
I realized it was original to a show, I was just like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm that's the next two seasons could be absolute garbage, and I'm still absolutely on board for like you guys get it. So
Well,
that
things like
moment,
that are why I think that the creators and showrunners of Rings of Power, just like on a fundamental level, understand the stories.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Not Tolkien. Nobody's going to understand Tolkien. That
yeah.
man was an
Mm-hmm.
enigma even to
He's a
himself.
weird little guy. Even the number of
But
Christopher Tolkien writings that are like, I don't know what my dad meant,
yes,
but yeah.
but like I feel like on a, for lack of a better term, I guess molecular level, they just understand the arc that Tolkien's characters need to have. And they
Yeah,
understand why they go on these arcs. And they understand the difference in evil for the sake of evil and evil for a purpose, which is Sauron.
yeah,
He's not evil for the sake of evil in the second age specifically.
yeah.
He is in the third age. Fair, whatever.
He's just descended
Um,
into it.
yeah, yeah. They just they just understand something about Tolkien that you don't understand without, you will never understand that without like going into some of the things outside of the three main books.
Yeah,
And they just
absolutely.
understand it, which is amazing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's so
I
good.
know
And
I
that,
know exactly what you're saying, George.
yeah, and then I've already done a giant tirade about it, but just like both the Tolkien-esqueness and just the general goodness of Celebrimbor's death scene
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
the like, no, you will be Lord of the Rings, and one of them will be your undoing, is
Mm-hmm.
both just so good on its own and also just so incredibly Tolkien
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to
And
just like name
the
it
way
and
Charles Edwards
here's a
Charlie
curse
acted.
for
Edwards,
you
man.
and his acting.
And
God.
fucking Charlie Vickers too. Like
Yes,
when he
both of them
One
turns
are.
alone will be your undoing.
when he
Oh
turns
God.
around and he's got like the single tear coming down his
Yes,
The amount of
face.
memes I have made with that singular fucking
yes.
part of that
Listen,
scene.
listen. We didn't get into it at all, and I told her I might, and I even read up on it. But I just for anybody listening on Threads, my friend Loquinda Nerdia has a giant she has a whole website about so the Rings of Power. If you're
Oh
ever
yeah.
just a tiny aside, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I told her I was going to come
Do
and
it.
bring it up, and I want to
Do
because
it.
I'm so passionate about it. If you liked Rings of Power but feel like the like pacing is weird, I encourage you to look up Loquinda Nerdia's
Spell that
thoughts
for
on this.
everyone.
Yeah, so that is LOQUENDINERDIA. She's on Threads, and on her Threads, there's a link to her website, which really breaks all this down. But essentially points out that basically the arc of all of Rings of Power, but especially season one, but even there's some within season two, is chiastic, or to use another term, is a ring, which is literally the name of the literary term. And so basically, it make everything mirrors itself. Galadriel's journey from light towards darkness and then back into light mirrors Halbrand's journey from
Mm-hmm.
darkness towards light, but then back into darkness. And
Yeah.
there's 100 visual and verbal parallels, and it's incredible and it's so deep. So if you feel
It's
like the
very,
pacing,
very yin and yang.
yes, exactly. And it's very like if you feel like the pacing is weird, that's because it's not structured like a normal like cinematic Western experience. It's structured like Beowulf, like some of the freaking
Mm-hmm.
Psalms, like
Mm-hmm.
oh what's the original thing with the flood? The windmills, the
Oh,
sky. Uh
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh, yes. It's structured like that, where it's like you have an arc and then your climax is right in the middle, and then after your climax, you have sort of a mirroring of what was happening before. So like, and it really like I love this show, but when I
Mhm.
read what she had written about it, it completely like blew everything out of the water for me. So
Yeah,
for those of you
that's cool.
listening, go check out her threads, go check out her website, which is, I don't know, go to her threads. There's a link to her website. And it is just an incredible breakdown that like if you like this show but don't feel weird about like just go read it. If you like the show at all, please go read it. It is so good and adds so much depth to the show and shows the amount of like work and deliberateness that went into the show despite the pacing feeling weird. That's on purpose.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's my rant.
Hey man, let it out. My favorite thing,
Yes.
I'm not gonna go as deep as both of you because mine
No,
is like
do
a
it.
very kind of surface level thing. Um, so I guess I can go a little bit deep about something, but
I mean, I literally said my favorite thing is a fucking dressage move. It doesn't really get much more shallow than that.
mine's kind of shallow too. Mine was the fucking Lord of Werewolves nod that they had for
Oh
Sauron,
yes.
and it's
Mhm.
what's that's episode fucking 1. It's like right the fuck off the bat. I was like, I'm in. I love everything you're doing. You're doing what I wanted you to do. First of all, I love werewolves, and Sauron's beautiful, and you're fucking
And there's your boy,
showing me like,
R.I.P.
I'm sorry.
I said, and
There's your
there's your
boy.
boy, R.I.P.
Oh boy, and my Findrato.
Finrod Corpse.
But like when he just black speeches the fuck out of that like crazy ass warg, and
Yeah.
she calms the fuck. By the way, I have a headcanon. That's a female warg. Her name is Zuzi, for short for Burzum. She is my warg that me and Sauron have together. Um,
Hmm.
yes, it's weird.
I
Whatever.
love it.
That's my girl.
No,
I call her Zuzi. So it's Burzu with the circumflex over the U.
sure.
We call her ZU with the circumflex ZUIE.
Mhm.
Susie, that's my girl, by the way.
Right.
But when he calms Susie down and
Yeah.
she just is like so fucking happy, and he like puts like he holds the bone out for her, and she just like takes it gently after speaking the black speech. I was like, oh
What?
my god, I fucking
Yeah.
love this shit so much.
Right?
Bro, the scene when he is like swearing fealty to the Lord of Mordor, and Charlie
Yes.
like
Your head at my feet.
puts his head on the ground and looks directly into the
At the
fucking
camera, breaks
camera.
the fourth wall, yes.
Ah!
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
My God.
Yes. Okay, so thank you both for being here.
Yeah.
We have this is for
We
listen,
could sit here and talk
full
about adaptations
disclosure.
for many
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
hours.
Full
Listen.
Easily.
disclosure for
Yeah.
everyone. This is we have recorded we recorded another episode, the three of us. And it started off great, and we all got really fucking drunk and just like gushed to each other after a couple hours. So this time we were far more on point.
No, truly. Like it might
Yeah.
not seem like it, but we were, trust me.
Yes, especially considering the editing that I haven't done it
Yeah.
yet, but I will do soon.
Oh boy.
So,
Oh
but also
boy.
this is like time travel for me trying to figure out like how
Yeah.
to tell people this from the future in the past. Whatever. It's weird. It's a mind fuck.
It's just it's wibbly wobbly, timey
Yeah.
wimey.
Yes,
Don't worry
exactly.
about it.
But so Jen and
TJ's the
George
Time
have
Lord confirmed.
yeah, I have been here. I'm sorry, I've been here. Of course I've been here. That's so existential. Anyways, Jen and George have been here before, but just in case, I'd like for both of you to let everyone know where they can find you, just in case. I don't know if our episodes are going to connect with the other episodes. That I don't know how time works. Doesn't matter. Jen, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitch as at elvish_groves. I guess technically on Blue Sky it's elvish-groves because they wouldn't let me do an underscore. It doesn't matter. Just Elvish Groves. Come join the book club. It's fun.
Yes.
It is fun. We're all part of the same
It's great
Discord.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
it's a good time.
Yeah.
George, where can people find you if they want to
So
talk
I
with
am,
you?
and this is different from, I can't remember when. It's definitely different from the first time I was on here. I am George and Such, pretty much everywhere, but basically where you will actually find me to be online will be Threads and Blue Sky and TikTok. Yeah, George and Such.
Well, thank you both for hanging out. It's been a great second time recording with you both.
Yeah,
I love you both very much. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
We
you
love you
too.
too.
We love you too.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Tolkien on Tap. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on any of my social medias. I'm on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at @the_Neej. Namarie.